Royal Duality, Tales for the Silent One, Chapter 8.
The High Cleric was the first to crack under the pressure of the Fae's entry into the castle. The Dreamer had been freed of his influence thanks to Christian's help, but hadn't been found by the Fae group yet.
Christian must have been pretty strong to do that. What happened?
Excuse me?
I thought you'd want to tell us about all of that. Christian saving you?
That's a very trivial detail. It's the tale of King Evergreen. That's what you wanted to listen to, isn't it?
May, you're the royal advisor. Don't sell yourself short. Besides, you told us loads about Christian and you earlier. What happened when he saved you?
I think you'll find that's not the focus of the story anymore.
Oi, what's that for? I'm just asking the question.
Ranistar, come on now. Let Sirius tell the story. I'm sure he'll take questions at the end.
Anyway, Count Helmrich returned with the Fey lance in hand, giving it to Prince Evergreen to aid him in his quest to save the wizard Oliver and the Dreamer. Then, without warning, the High Cleric appeared, asking for a moment of the Count's time. Helmrich complied, only to be killed moments later. By the time the Prince and Princess rushed to his side, the Count could not be saved. It was too late. The Princess promised to stay with the Count in his dying moments. But the Prince bravely chased the High Cleric through the halls of the castle, determined to hold him accountable for this terrible misdeed. The deeper Prince Evergreen searched the castle, the more he noticed that the decor of the castle began to change. The Fey decorations disappeared, and sinister red and black vampiric ones took their place. It was obvious that the castle wasn't claimed by Count Helmrich for his own sake. There was something more sinister going on. The prince lost sight of the High Cleric Blackheath, and then something most unexpected happened. He never found him, but rather bumped into Christian, who mentioned that Sirius was up ahead and eager to be reunited with him. He too left, and the prince was alone once again. He finally happened upon a mysterious letter from an unknown ally called Gushvin, which not only declared that the High Cleric was dead, but that Count Helmrich's manservant Driscoll had also been taken care of. Most importantly, the Dreamer's heart was with the letter, uncorrupted and perfectly intact. The prince returned the heart to the Dreamer. Then, like a miracle, he came to his senses, once again the master of his own will. Everything was as it should have been.
Well, that's very nice and convenient, isn't it?
Ranistar, I'm noting some rather obvious dissatisfaction in your voice. What's the matter? I'm flattered that you're so interested in the Dreamer's part in the story. I truly am. But that's not really what you came here for.
No, don't mind me grumbling. Carry on.
I shall. I don't know who spat in your drink and made you so disagreeable all of a sudden, but it's souring the mood. Now, where was I, Silent One? Oh, yes. The prince and Dreamer hastened on to return to the princess, who had been steadfast in her care of the count, who was now in his eternal slumber. He must have been happy in his final moments. Blessed that the Princess of Flowerberry did all she could to comfort him before the end, despite their obvious differences. But sadly, there was little time to grieve. The princess and the dreamer said that they would try and find the wizard Oliver. Prince Evergreen had a different path. He knew it was time to bring it all to an end. He couldn't bear seeing the halls of the Fey castle covered with symbols of the vampire spider. With the lance in hand, he sought justice for the Evergreen people. As he approached her inner sanctum, he covered his mouth. A heavy incense hung in the air, beguiling and heady. The smell clung to him, and he struggled to focus. He saw dark magical spells inscribed on the walls. Opulent furnishings and fabrics covered the once proud Fey architecture, and decadent chalices filled with blood littered the entrance to her lair. He then saw the sprite knight Sam trapped and unable to move, whilst Warren, Christian, and the spider deity, the malignant Era, were locked in a raging battle of words. Stunned and unable to understand what was happening, the prince turned to the trapped knight for advice.
Lou, this is getting out of hand. We've got one chance. Whilst she's distracted, you have to use that lance. I don't know where you got it from, but it's our only option.
Huh?
I hate to admit it, but Warren's head's all over the place. We can't rely on him, and Christian's in a rage. If you don't do something, he will.
The lantern wasn't enough.
No, and normal weapons won't have any effect on her. The moment she smiled when I went to grab my hilt, I realised it would be hopeless, and attempting to injure her would have been the excuse she needed to take Warren over the edge.
Agreed, but I can't kill someone.
You said he was a vampire hunter. He was a vampire cleric too. Whose side are you on?
That disgusting wretch was not my father. My father
Lou,
was a
it
vampire
has to
hunter.
be you. Sprites can't wield Fey lances. I know how difficult this will be, but think of what will happen if she corrupts Warren and Oliver. Flowerberry Forest could be destroyed too.
You came
I
here
can't
save
bear to
Oliver,
lose another home.
but it sounds more like you'll be joining
Prince
her.
Lewis,
To remember who she is.
please.
I
The vampire
have to try and sue for peace, Sam. I'm a diplomat.
That's
Lou?
your agenda,
What are you...
not mine.
Great deity, Era. I'm sorry for what the Fae did to your people. I'm certain you did not start the war. I can't imagine the pain it caused you.
Be quiet, little prince. How dare you think you can placate me? You Fae killed my precious children. I took your own as payment. The balance was restored. Then the wretches at the Wizards' Council dishonor my right to privacy. They made a mockery of me by sending their naive errand boy to spy on me when I did them no harm. What right do you have to interfere in our quarrel?
Oliver is my friend. You can't just steal him. Era, this is my home. You've ruined it. But I can forgive you.
You forgive me? What insolence! I don't need your forgiveness.
Let me help you go back to Farkal. I would grant you clemency. Don't force my hand. I don't want to hurt you.
So I can be snatched up by that cretin, that vulture you call a friend. Oh no, little prince. I am not leaving. This is the only place I am safe from that rotting corpse of a man. King Daedric will never have me again. Do you hear me, Christian? I will not be taken back to that chamber of
Forgive me. I had to put it to an end. Forgive me.
The prince had tried in vain to persuade the spider deity Ira, but it was no good. He had no other choice. Before it was over, the spider deity enacted her final wicked deed. She sought to kill the prince and tore his wings from his very back. Blood gushed from the wounds, but he remained strong and barely flinched. The spider deity was overcome with fear. She realized her defeat and melted into the abyss, never to be seen again. With all the threats eliminated from the castle, the group hurried to where the princess and the dreamer were. They had both successfully found the wizard Oliver, who was none other than the young cleric that the dreamer had met at the beginning of the story. Prince Evergreen needed to recover from his encounter with the spider, so the princess stepped forward to comfort her deeply troubled friend, who was beginning to realize what had happened in that terrible place.
I can't believe it, but in my mind, everything has gone quiet. I can't hear their thoughts anymore. They've gone. Everyone is gone. I'm alone.
I'm so sorry, Oliver. Helmrich is... I was with him. He wasn't alone. He was peaceful in the end. He asked me to take care of you.
Oh. He said that, did he?
Yes, we talked together. He seemed like a very caring person.
Oh, I never knew him. I was so cruel to him when I met him. Why? Why was I like that?
I think you've had a very hard time, but we're here to help. If you'll let us.
I don't know. None of this makes any sense. I'm so scared.
He's in shock. Fledglings struggle without their masters. It seems like Blackheath was circumventing Oliver's link with Helmrich. Now that they're both gone, he must be overcome with grief.
Do you think he'll remember us?
I'm not an expert, but I don't think so. But nothing's impossible.
Right. But we really need to move. Warren and Lou are in a bad way. The sooner we leave this place, the better.
I'll go in and help. Hello, Oliver. Remember me? We met in my room once. We talked a little bit.
Oh yes, you're Sirius, aren't you?
That's me. Nice to see you again. I'm sure you're a bit scared of what's going on right now. I bet it all feels very strange and different. I can understand that. But it's dangerous if we stay here. We want to help you, Oliver. Princess Lily told me about Helmrich. He seemed like a very nice person.
I had no idea he cared about me. Then all these thoughts flooded my mind when Blackheath passed, and I can't bear it. I'm so confused. Who am I? Why is my memory so fragmented? I don't even remember my own face.
Oliver, would you like to see your face? I have a special mirror. I can show you if you like.
Yes, I think so.
Well, that's no bother at all. Here you are. Just like always, you're just a little pale. Must be the shot.
That's my face.
Be safe as you go, Oliver, and hurry back. I can't wait to take tea with you again.
I'll be back before you know it. Keep the stove on, I won't be long.
Forgive me. I've never used a stove.
Don't think I'll just sit around and wait. I'll be coming after you if you're not back within a fortnight.
Honestly, you're just like the princess. I'll be fine. I go on errands like this all the time.
Well, you can tell me all about it when it's over.
Thanks to Oliver's true friends appearing when they did, he regained a few precious memories from the past. And despite his obvious hesitation, he was soothed by their tenderness and was convinced to leave the Evergreen Castle and the horrible things that happened there behind him. Thus, they all began their journey home to the Flowerberry Forest. The unknown becomes known, and the unseen becomes seen, in the legendary tale of our beloved King Evergreen. Our adventurers became household names in their own right, and this is not the end of their stories. Oh no! The Sprite Knight Sam was lauded upon her return. Were it not for her level-headedness, the quest would have failed. She cleared the name of the Sprite people, who now live happily across our land. The Lycan, Warren, was still troubled by his curse. He decided to travel, determined to find a way to break it, and return to Olesa Machna as a better man. This adventure changed his views on the world. He wanted to broaden his horizons and set out to discover more about himself. Christian returned to the underworld. With the vampires slain and the deity thwarted, he continued his sacred duties set out for him by the King of the Dead. He hasn't been seen in the Evergreen Forest since. The princess is now our beloved Queen Lily. She, of course, returned home a hero. Were it not for her healing abilities, the prince would have been in grave danger. She says that she'll never forget what happened, and even to this day praises the kindness and generosity of Sam, Lewis, and her other travel companions. The prince is now King Evergreen, of course. Now, far be it from me to speak of his majesty so casually, but we all know that his virtues are many and wide-reaching. He has tirelessly worked to help the Evergreen people, and I am delighted to say that soon the Evergreen Forest and Castle will be completely purified, ready to welcome its people home. But what about the dreamer? Well, he's just content with doing all he can to help both the Fey Kingdoms. He is, after all, an advisor to one and all. And on that note, dear listeners, let's raise a glass to the King of Evergreen. Cheers!
Bravo, Sirius. What a rousing ending. Cheers!
Ugh. Never needed an excuse to charge my glass. Bloody hell. That got twee and confusing at the end. Cheers!
Bottoms up!